Live. What is up, everybody? Aaron the Dog back with his first of 3 breakdowns for the week here on Aaron the Dog MMA. Starting out with the big one, the UFC Breakdown show. It's UFC Fight Night. I forgot to make the banner. UFC Fight Night, Jamahal Hill versus Johnny Walker now as the main event. Viziev Dos Anjos got moved to another event. I'll just start with my little rant before we go in. I don't like how they keep doing this at all, like moving certain fights, kicking certain fights down the road a little bit, and making main events on 8 days' notice. That's where I'll just start. This main event is on 8 days' notice. It was supposed to be a 3-round fight until 8 days ago. So I don't know if that changes any of your thoughts. It did change a little bit of my approach for this fight, but did it change yours at all? Before we don't obviously hint at the main event, but
no, it's definitely changed my thoughts being a 5-rounder now. Yeah,
especially how one of the fighters fought his last fight. So I have a feeling we're maybe on a similar page there. But it's a good week for MMA. The PFL Challenger Series is what's starting off the weekend on Friday. So again, PFL Challenger Series has tons of really good guys. All the Challenger Series events I will be doing with Lucky Locks picks, my LFA co-host. But basically, regional MMA is where Lucky Locks shines. He doesn't even make UFC breakdown videos. It's so dope. He makes LFA, Titans, Cage Warriors, and then he's like, UFC, I'm good.
Does a great job as well.
Yeah, he's great. And I always listen to his videos when I'm making my last picks. So we'll be checking out that tomorrow morning. Bellator breakdown. I think I'm going to try to get up early and do it just because, and then Davis saying hi to Bunny. Hi, Davis. I always like seeing the people pop in, though. Good to see Boston Comments here. Davis, thank you guys for joining us. It's the UFC breakdown. It's an interesting card. It's one that we're never going to call a card bad. We're going to call it underrated. We're going to call it sleeper. Which moniker are we choosing for this week for you?
I'd call this a sleeper card, as there's some. I don't know about the matchups being great, but there's definitely some good individuals on the card.
So maybe not 2 individuals in one fight, but at least maybe one in most of the fights. Fair enough. I think it's reflected in the odds. So the odds this week they're crazy, and they're tempting on. I think they're going to be tempted for a lot of people to ship some dogs they wouldn't normally ship. And Bunny here mentioning nice of Davis to be here, and that. Yeah, she's not a massive Walker fan. Interesting.
Okay.
I'll be honest. I feel like I'm the last Walker fan on earth here.
I like him.
No one else does.
No,
everybody else seemed to love him. What's he done
to upset some people?
He got knocked out by Corey Anderson, and that just everybody seemed to just be like, we're out. And then he almost I don't know. People just went with Johnny Walker from uber prospect, like unheralded talent, which I never really thought he was. I thought he was an exciting Muay Thai guy. And then a little bit of that. But yeah, I mean, now all of a sudden, I mean, Hill has been we'll get into this more, actually. I have a lot to say on this main event, a lot more than I realized. So let's get started with the card here. It is taking place at the Apex. So we got the small octagon, 12 fights currently on the docket here. And we're starting at 135. This is a fight that I sent you yesterday because that's when it was announced. And it's at bantamweight. And actually, it's a local guy from Boston who I'm pretty sure that Boston Comments herself is familiar with. Jay Perrin getting a short notice call up here. He's taken on guys like Chris Moutinho on the regional scene. He's a solid, well-rounded fighter. Won a champion, and she's saying his social media is obnoxious. Well, isn't that the idea of social media, to be obnoxious?
I haven't seen his social media.
Yeah, so I don't even. I did not do the social media scouring as I do for some of the fights with marketable fighters. But Jay Perrin taking my girl's nickname Savage, so we're gonna have to figure out a new nickname there for Jay because there's only one Savage in the UFC, and she's got red hair. But Jay Perrin here, 10-4, 28 years old, so 5'9" out of Lowell, Massachusetts. 2-fight win streak for him, fighting out of City Dong, Boston, so he's trained with the likes of Rob Font, many other really solid guys. Sit Udon kind of disappeared a little bit over the last couple of years, but I think they're still a pretty reasonable camp. And he's gotten 2 straight wins, had a really good performance against Josh Smith at CES to win the bantamweight title, got the rear naked choke in the second round. He's well-rounded. He did fight on the Contender Series back in, I think, the inaugural season. Must have been, because I don't even remember that Dwight Joseph fight until I went back and watched it. Lost the decision there. Hasn't fought a huge level of competition. Mostly finishes with rear naked chokes. Likes to use his boxing to set up his grappling. Losses to some, decent, notable guys, but not amazing level of guys either. Guys like Blair Tugman, who you kind of see on regional scenes, but maybe should be beating. Dwight Joseph hasn't done much. He's taking this on short notice. He was preparing for a fight in March, but this is about a month ahead of time. That's the first thing I'm noticing. Second thing is Mario Batista is not an easy opponent to take on short notice at all. A fellow 28-year-old out of MMA Lab. Very good camp there. I definitely rate them pretty highly at this point. Got knocked out by Trevin Jones. It was a good first round. Second round, Trevin Jones just, I think, can surprise a lot of people. Mario Batista is the OG exposer of Miles Johns, so shout out to him for that. Overall, he's bounced between 45 and 35. He's much more of a 35er to me. The power, I think, is legitimate. And, And no, I know we get it. Walker is the obnoxious social media, not Jay Perrin. Either way, I think that for Jay, he's going to have trouble getting this down to the ground. And I think on the feet, I think there's a significant just overall power and variety to Mario Batista's strikes. So I think Mario Batista, I don't like Jay taking this fight a month in advance also, but he's been wanting to get into the UFC. He definitely was maybe a fight away. I just think that this is going to be a tough fight for him. And unless Batista kind of has a tough weight cut and Perrin can kind of wear him down, I think it's going to be I think it's for the most part Batista, and I would take the knockout prop.
Yeah, I think you're right with that. I think Batista does get this done. I think he's a lot faster. He's got more power at the weight class, and his movement is phenomenal. If you watch the Miles Johns fight and how he opens up, and the speed of it, he's just in and out. There's no way he's going to grab him and just get him down as easily as he has other opponents. I mean, Jay Perrin's good. I think he deserves a shot. He does deserve a shot at getting into the UFC, but I think Batista is actually a very tricky opponent stylistically for him on a 4-week training camp. So,
not even 4 weeks from Batista either. I mean, he got this fight announced 2 days ago.
Yeah, I don't know. There's just something about me when my gut rings. It's too much too soon almost. It normally is right, but I'm going to go Bautista as well, just based on speed, power, and his movement, which I think is going to be really key, especially if Jay wants to get takedowns in this, which I don't think is going to be easy at all.
Yeah, and Jay is training on Syndicate for this fight, so that's good to know with John Wood. So that Syndicate has been a camp that am I going to say it's slipping yet?
I don't know. They got a good variety of people there, and a lot more people are going there since the Apex, aren't they? Because it's located in Vegas.
It's definitely located right there. But I just, I don't know. Like maybe it's just the whole JoJo getting married a week before a fight and then getting obliterated.
That's affected you, hasn't it?
It's really, really damaged my overall. Like, is John Wood focused on? Like, absolutely focused on fighting.
I'm sure he is. Yeah.
I don't know. That was a weird call. But I can't shake that. Either way, Mario Batista, he'll probably be minus 400 or more. It's not going to be worth betting on short notice here at all. So, and this is really odd. I don't think this has ever happened, but I swear, did that fight just disappear? Oh, no, they moved it off the card since I just updated it. So it's not the opener anymore on Tapology. It's not the 6th fight in. But that was how it was on Tapology when I looked at it. So we're starting with Mario Batista and Jay Perrin. That's never happened before, where they updated that much. God, that's just professional there. Anyways, The real opener here is Chad Andlinger versus Jesse Strader. And I'm actually really excited about this fight. So I actually kind of feel bad that I forgot about it because I love Chad Andlinger. I might not be able to say his name that correctly, but he's got an awesome story. Jesse Strader, on the other hand, I'll give Jesse Strader this. He is probably going to be the most bodied up fighter at weigh-ins on Saturday. So there's that. I mean, he is absolutely jacked and definitely a physical specimen. Chad Andlinger started his career 2-5. He's now 11-5. Yeah. Came off the Contenders Series, took on Gafurov there, where he was a plus 525 underdog to Gafurov. I bet him, and I said on here to bet Chad Andlinger. So a little bit of an emotional connection here for me and Chad. I'll be honest. Mooning Gafurov was 17-3 coming into the fight. A really solid fighter. Good, it was a good competitive fight. I questioned how it was a split. I thought it was pretty clear, unanimous decision for Chad. And I rewatched it and thought even more so that. So I think it was a little bit of the odds making people kind of shocked, thinking it was going to be a certain way. Billy, good to see you here. Yeah, you can get some crazy odds on a Contender Series. When they think they've got a hype train, they line it up. For example, Jalton Almeida was an underdog on his Contender Series fight. And now you kind of look at him and you're like, wow. But Chad Andlinger, this is just going to be a car crash of a fight. I'll be honest. His last win before getting the shot in Contender Series was a really solid championship win over Brady Highstand. We got to see him on Tough, and he looked pretty good on there also. But yeah, I mean, he started out 2-5, was not going well. It really tells me something that took a couple years off, came back in 2016, and just started finishing people. A lot of variety of finishes, submissions, punches. He's a pressure fighter. He goes forward, brings the fight to his opponent. The one thing I will credit, and I can basically say all this for Jesse Strader too, except that Chad Andlinger is willing to mix it up. That is really the difference here. But I could see this being 15 minutes of these two, Arosa and Petersoning it. And that's where I am just heartbroken when I opened up the odds. Absolutely heartbroken. Because I was like, all right, people are going to see 11-5 Chad Andlinger. They're going to be like, oh, he was an underdog on the Contender Series. Let's not credit him. He's like a minus 250, minus 300. And in a fight like this, it's a 50-50 kind of fight because of how he fights. He is also 35 years old. Yeah. It's just like, and he's fought at 125, he's fought at 135. I love Chad Andlinger. I cannot bet him at that price at all. I'm nervous about this fight. I think that Jesse Strader is being kind of underestimated into this fight. He's 5-2. So again, it's just kind of one of these records where I think initially people overjudge it, but he's going to be in really, really good shape for this fight. He's 30 years old. I do think that's relevant in the 135 division. A lot more than maybe if this was at 145, 55 a little higher. But I mean, 35 is dicey. And Jesse Strader, he came in on short notice and he took on Montel Jackson. He looked terrible. I'm not sure how much better Chad Andlinger would have looked against Montel Jackson on short notice there. I think Montel Jackson's really good, even though he's had some underwhelming performances. So, I mean, and this Chad Andlinger isn't Montel Jackson. He doesn't have a 76-inch reach. There's just a little bit of a difference here. But Jesse Strader, he has really good shots to the body, good, volume, good punches. He's a good boxer. I could see these guys just trading. I could see Jesse edging one out. I'm going to take Chad, but I'm just a little bit nervous here. I'm curious to see how he responds to the nerves. There's a lot of desperation at 35 years old making your debut. But I love coming back from 2-5 to start your career. That's a serious sign of mental fortitude. And Gafurov is legit, like a really legit win in his last one. Brady Highstead, I think it's going to get some wins as well when he gets signed. So I'm going Chad. I'm not going to be betting it, and I'm bummed about it. I'll bet it a little, but it's not. I was expecting it to be a pick 'em, and I was surprised by the odds.
Yeah, the odds are surprising. I think the odds were probably driven by just probably that Contender Series fight. It's a legit win, as you say. There's two things I like when it comes to when you're not sure on the guys. It's a pick 'em in your mind, but not the betting mind, which is But
makes it that I would bet the underdog if I wasn't a huge fan of Chad. That's my honest advice.
Yeah. The only thing I do like about Chad in this is the fact that he's a pressure fighter that does get finishes and he's a serial finisher.
Yep.
Mixes it up brilliantly. Jesse's had some question marks on him. Again, yeah, as you say, looked pretty crap coming into his last fight, but was short notice. There's an excuse there. But all the momentum doesn't seem to be with Jesse in this one. And I think kind of the opposite about him being 35 and being desperate. I think there's no pressure now. He's like, I got a shot in the UFC. Brilliant. Like, 35, I'm going to do my thing. If it doesn't work out, I'm 36, 37 by then, whatever.
And he sure didn't look desperate in his Contender Series
fight.
No,
he didn't. He just looked so relaxed.
Composed.
Yeah, absolutely. So for that reason, I think it's Chad. Betting wise, I would stay clear just because I don't like the odds and I don't like Jesse Strader enough to bet on him.
Yeah, no, that is probably the more accurate. The good old dog or pass line, which I hate using. It's so overused in this breakdown game, but sometimes it's true. I do think this is pretty much a dog or pass. Chad Englinger up to minus 265 plus 200 on Jesse Strader. Again, I'm rooting for Chad. This is a fight I don't need to have money on to enjoy, and I just think that if I'm giving people advice, I don't think there's a lot of people that are going to be tailing a 35-year-old bantamweight making their debut at minus 270. But in case you were thinking about it, maybe don't make that the main leg to your parlays. Yeah. So, but yeah, either way, I think it's going to be a really good fight. I'm really rooting for Chad. He had a really great debut there. And we're going to move on to the next fight here. It is in the 115 strawweight division. It's between Diane Bibliota and Gloria De Paula. I don't have a lot of nice things to say about this fight. This is one that if you're betting a lot of money on, good for you. For me, it's just I'm not sure how good either one of these ladies are. I'll be honest. Gloria De Paula, 5-4. That's right, 5-4. And 5'5", 67.5-inch reach. It's going to be a little shorter, a little smaller to Diane Warrior Princess, who has fought 125 before. I think could be a pretty big aspect of this fight. But 26 for Gloria De Paula. She's lost 2 straight to, possibly go to 500 if she loses this one. Got head kicked to oblivion by Cheyenne Velisma now. Jin Yu Frey out-muscled her and out-grappled her. Very concerning in that fight. She did kind of beat up Pauline Macias, who looked like she was an atomweight in her Contender Series fight. Other than that, not a really high level of competition. And again, 5-4. Not crazy about what I've seen so far out of Gloria De Paula. Diane Bibliota, 25 years old, out of Bosnia, I believe, or Romania, I apologize. Now fighting out of Canada, trains with Kyle Nelson and others. 14-6, claims to be a kickboxer, apparently. Yeah, I didn't know that. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like she can grapple people who can't grapple. But otherwise, we kind of saw that with Hannah Goldie. Hannah Goldie came in with a terrible game plan for that. Yeah, I just don't know. I'll go with Bibliota or Belbita. I can't even say her name right. But I'll go with Belbita. I think that she has the more experience. She's going to be the larger fighter. And I just think is slightly better on the feet. I think that they're not going to be able to get this to the ground. But again, I'm not putting a lot of thought into this one. I'll take Belbita though. I'm
also on Belbita. Just for the point, she went through 15 minutes with Molly McCann, didn't get finished. She beat Hannah Goldie. They're legit competitors. Molly McCann is a beast. Hannah Goldie is putting in the work to improve constantly. They're good wins. Gloria De Paula, again, not convincing at all. I'm ignoring the record. I'm looking at the person, the individual she's fighting, and they're just not the same caliber. The techniques just not quite there compared, in my opinion, to Diana. So just based on that, there's not, again, yeah, same as you, not much thought going into this one because I don't know a lot about Gloria. I've seen Diana a lot, but not Gloria a lot. So based on what I've seen, I would be edging towards Diana, but again, I'd be staying clear of this one.
Yeah, I agree. And apparently the lines move pretty significantly. It's now a pick'em. So even at pick'em, I'm not like, I mean, I guess there must be a reason because De Paula was a significant underdog and all the money's coming on her. Maybe she's another one with a social media. I don't know. Do I have to start researching social media more for my breakdowns and less fight tape? Like I'm confused here because I think Bibliota should take this one, but I'm not betting it. Even if it's at pick'em, they're not going to fool me here. So yeah, I'm just gonna sit back, and that is what I call a steak fight. I'm going to be baking my steak during that fight. So go ahead, and I would suggest you do the same. If you're vegan, you can make your beet steak or whatever. I don't care. A mushroom cap. It doesn't matter to me. Whatever you're eating, now's the time to cook it because the next fight of the night is at 145. The return of Chaz Skelly. Is anybody excited about that besides me? Just me? Bueller? I mean, he's 18-3 and 1. I mean, how about that?
He's Mark Striegel, though.
Yeah, and like these are the two most shocking 18-3s maybe in MMA history. I don't know. Like it is amazing here that we have a combined record of 36-6 for this fight of Chaz Skelly and Mark Striegel. And I think it's actually a pretty well matched up fight. I think it's going to be very interesting. Chaz Skelly, you look at all of the numbers, like his strike differential, his takedown defense percentage, all of it, it's terrible. Yet he wins. He finds a way to win. He even got an interview when his guy didn't show up to the fight. Remember when Jamahal Emmers threw out his back and he did an interview anyways? Because he was already in the ring. That was the latest stoppage in UFC or latest cancellation in UFC history. But either way, I'll be starting with Mark Striegel here. Mark Striegel is a Sambo. Sambo has a Sambo background. He's out of the Philippines. Fought a lot over in Russia and overseas. But 18-3, 33 and a half years old. Pretty well-rounded, more of a grappler, though. His stand-up is kind of never quite caught up to the grappling, and he is taking on a grappler here. But the way that Chaz Skelly has lost his fights has been by getting out grappled. Hasn't been by getting just obliterated on the feet, like kind of you would figure. It's actually just been by getting more grappled than his opponent. So my question in this fight is how good is Mark Striegel? Because again, he's another guy that we didn't get to find out shit about him in his debut. He got hooked and knocked out by Said Nurmagomedov in 51 seconds, which is longer than I think Stamen survived, right?
Yeah, I think that was 40-something, wasn't it?
Yeah, so he survived longer than
5 or 6 seconds on Cody.
Well, we're looking at the pluses here, and a plus right away is he's tougher than Cody Stamen. I mean, that's incredible. He lasted a whole 7 seconds longer. But yeah, and then he had a low blow that got him into the UFC. So it's been since 2018 he's had a legitimate win. Did come by guillotine, but this is my kind of red flags here. When I see 6-9 type of records when he was at 15-2, and he's able to get scarf hole arm locks in 50 seconds. That's just not preparing you for the next level. And that's kind of one of my questions because I don't think he's going to have good enough stand-up. I think the way he wins is he's going to have to overwhelm him and submit him. If he has the better grappling, he's got to win over Kai Kara France. Obviously, Kai Kara France much smaller. He fought at bantamweight. Mark Striegel's now moved up to 145. Got finished by Reese McLaren. I apologize. Reese McLaren, actually, Reese Lightning. He's not a bad grappler at all. But I do think he's a similar kind of scrappy scramble type of grappler. And one of my worries is if Mark is going in for takedowns on Chaz, if he leaves his kind of head in a position for one of those defensive chokes of Chaz. Also, I do think he is I think the reason Chaz gets taken down so much is because he's willing to be on the ground and grappling. I mean, if you're betting Striegel here, I don't think you think he wins the stand-up fight. Even I think the only way he wins is by out grappling and submitting him, and I just can't side with that. So Chaz has a ton of experience here. I can go through it, but honestly, I'm going to save the time. I like Chaz Skelly in this spot, but -2. What is it now? -200 is a little bit steep. I think it's, but I think it's warranted here.
Yeah, I think so as well. Especially the only way for Mark to kind of win in my head as well was to grapple. I don't think Chaz is extremely good striker either. To be honest, they're both grapplers, but he's just fought way better competition. Like Mark is such a padded record, whereas Chaz is. The opening of his career was definitely padded, but since he's been in the UFC, he's got some very good wins on his record.
And both guys are very inactive too.
Yeah, you think of who he lost to? It's like, what is it? Mercer Betchik, Darren Elkins he lost to, and Jason Knight. I think they're the 3 losses. And Jason Knight was the only one to was he the only one to finish him? Everyone else, the other 2 were decisions.
Jason, but they kind of just So Jason Knight finished him with ground and pound, and then has he not been submitted? I don't
think so. I'm pretty sure Mercer Betchik was decision. And
you're right. Yeah, and Elkins was a decision.
Elkins and they are legit.
Yeah, especially back when Bektik got that majority win off him in 2014. Bektik was a prospect.
I mean, yeah, to me, still, Moustache Bektik is a different animal. So, but, I mean, I just think he's fought some really slick guys, and he's choked them. He's choked them all, And Jim Allers as well. He beat up pretty bad in that second round as well, and got the finish. A second to go, buzzer beater, wasn't it? So, no, I think Chaz Kelly's got this, pretty easily. To be honest with you, I'd be surprised if Mark put up any form of competition after the first round.
Yeah, no, I agree. -200 currently. The line he's sitting at with a +160 on Striegel. I still think that's fair. I think that's parlayable. I think Chaz, the one thing, you're worried about Chaz has been off since 2020, but again, and his only win that is still on the roster is over Grutzmacher. The rest of his wins, they aren't on the roster anymore. So, but will Striegel be on the roster after a loss to Skelly? Probably not. So
yeah, I mean, the only time we've seen him in the last couple of years, he got knocked out within 50 seconds. So it's
yeah, and I mean, it's just weird when you earn your way into UFC on a low blow. Like that's just not exactly the best way to get in. But we're at bantamweight now, with a fight between Jessica Rose Clark. Speaking of social media, and Stephanie Egger. Stephanie Egger is a judoka. I believe that she was training for the Olympics at one point. I mean, so she allegedly has this very good judo background. I'm yet to see these skills translating into the UFC, I'll be honest. 6-2 for the 33-and-a-half-year-old now fighting at 135. Both these fighters moved up to 135 later in their career here. She's lost her last fight out by split, or no, she won. She won by ground and pound against Shayna Young. That's right. Lost to Tracy Cortez prior to that. The Tracy Cortez fight, I think, is going to be a pretty similar type of mirror for this fight because Jessica Rose Clark has just become this wrestler over the last 2 fights. Like she used to be kind of a Muay Thai striker, would strike in, kind of pressure with her striking. Now she went over to Daniel Cormier's wrestling gym, and not AKA Daniel Cormier's wrestling gym. And she really seems to be transferring those skills over. I mean, she dominated with her wrestling in her last fight. And I think that it's going to be interesting to see how Stephanie deals with that because against Tracy Cortez, she was not able to deal with Tracy setting up with the strikes to get to her wrestling. And I think that I think Jessica Rose Clark is just going to stay in her face for a lot of the fight, maybe strike a little bit more because of the judo background with Stephanie. And I just don't rate Stephanie's striking all that highly. Both these girls are later in their careers. Jessica Rose, kind of was inactive and now she's active again. She's going to be a little bit smaller in this fight, but I think she's still going to be able, for the most part, to use kind of pressure and stand up to get to a decision. I don't see a finish on either side. It could be whoever kind of establishes the top control and maintains it. But I'll lean towards Jessica Rose Clark, but definitely not like crazy confident on this one.
No, when you look at it just based on how the UFC, press people who look like Jessica Rose Clark, it's like, okay, well, she's going to win.
Marketable.
Yeah, the marketables. It's you'd think she's just going to win, but Stephanie Egger does pose some problems. But what I'm worried about is if she does eventually use her judo, I don't see her holding her down because, as you say, Rose Clark, she's really worked on wrestling big time to the point where she's actually using it. Right. Instead of striking. Striking wasn't a getting her anywhere. When you lose a striking battle to Jessica I, it's a bit worrying.
True.
He wins over like neck crawling to Paige Van Zandt. Yeah,
she had to develop.
Exactly. And was it Kanzad as well beat her? So
tooled her up on the feet.
So Sarah Alpar and Jocelyn Edwards are similar level to what Stephanie Egger is.
I agree. Especially Jocelyn Edwards. I'm not sure if I think she might even be better than Sarah Alpar. Sarah Alpar is about as low as you can get in the UFC.
If she's as low as you can get, it still took Jessica Rose Clark 3 rounds to deal with her.
And a miracle knee right before her butt hit the ground. Just a half an inch away from an illegal knee.
Exactly. So I think Jessica Rose Clark's fans think she's better than she is.
Yes.
It's always shocking because most people think she's about 25 years old as she looks it. But she's actually mid-30s, I think.
Yeah, 34, turning 35 in a month.
She does not look that old.
Nope. And she's had some surgical enhancements, which is always a concern of mine when you're still a current fighter. I just don't – I cannot understand that decision. But
no, me neither. But I'm going to go for an underdog. Okay. I'm going to go with Egger.
Good shot.
Cause an upset. Just because I think Jessica Rose Clark believes she's better than she is. Like most fighters, but I think her fans do as well, which boosts the price up for her.
That's fair.
I think Stephanie Egger's better than her record suggests, and could cause some problems. She can make it really dirty.
Yes, and with in a
fighting capacity, she can make it dirty. I mean,
I copy that. Yeah, and the thing and the odds here -180 on Jessica Rose. This should be a pick'em or close to it, and it's -180 for reasons outside. I mean. She's as high as -240 on other places. Where's
the proof? Where's the proof in that?
It's just she got her hair dyed like Harley Quinn. I don't know. Like I mean,
translates to an absolute killer right here.
Yeah, so -180 for Jessica Rose, +150 on Egger. I think +150 is a nice shot there. Jessica Rose. I'm going to pass on this one, but I will. Disagree. I'll take Jessica Rose here. Maybe I'm one of her fans, I guess. One of her only fans, but she doesn't have an only fan, so I don't know why I made that joke. But too late there. We'll move off of the marketable fight of the night on to potential fight of the night here. These guys are going to go in and go to war until either one's sleeping or both are bloody, I think. Gabriel Benitez taking on not David Obama, David Onama, who is everybody's sweetheart after almost beating Mason Jones on short notice. Real quick, I have some thoughts about short notice almost wins. They almost concern me more than like the Mark Striegel short notice, the Jesse Strader short notices, where it's just like they go in and like get obliterated. And I'll say it when they fight so well and they lose. I'm like, did we just see like about as good as he can fight and him take way more damage and things like that? And I get it. He didn't get finished in this fight. He was defending a lot of takedowns against Mason Jones, but he took a ton of shots too. He gave out shots too, but it's a lot of mileage to put on your short notice first fight ever. And it's like, if he goes in there, I think, and fights a similar type of approach against Benitez, I think someone's getting really hurt. And it could be him, like just as easily as Onama. I think Benitez, because of the kind of recent struggles, he's been counted out pretty heavily coming into this fight, and all of the attention, all of the momentum, the perceived momentum is going with Onama. This is what everybody is: Onama by murder, Onama by murder. I'm not so sure on that. This is one where. I'm, very curious to see how he handles the success of a loss here. And what I mean by that is we've seen I think you know where I'm going here. It's called the Gustafson Effect. And what it is, it's when you have your best performance in a loss, and then you constantly refer back to that all the time. You're like, remember how good I was in that almost fight, And yeah, I mean, Mason Jones pulled away in the third round. That's to be expected. Onama took the fight on 4 days' notice. So, I mean, now we get to see a full camp. I'm curious to see how the full camp works for Onama here. That really, at the end of the day, I'm not as much looking into these guys' records here as much as I'm looking into kind of the psychological aspects with Onama. He now has 8 weeks to prepare for the same opponent. Now, in logic, you just be like, oh, that's good. I mean, that will help him. But for certain fighters, maybe having more to think about doesn't help him. Maybe because he was going in there fighting on instinct, that was what helped him with the Mason Jones. He just was reacting more than thinking and going processing, if you know what I mean here.
Mm-hmm.
But that being said, I really do like the skills of Onama. He fought his last fight at 155, so I want to see how he looks at 145 as well. But really seems to have a lot of good tools here. These guys, he is going to have a 3-inch reach advantage to fight on Gloria MMA. I really rate them highly there. And then, it's just Mowgli. It's been 3 of his last 5 he's lost in. Looks like those wars are kind of catching up to him. So the irony of me talking about the wars, or a war catching up with Onama, has that already happened for Mowgli? He's 33. He's got the hardest kicks in the division. Knock off all the blah blah blah. Billy Contillo got that finish in the third round. His last 2-3 wins are Jason Knight, who's a bare knuckle fighter now, Humberto Bondone, who was god awful, and Justin James, Justin James. I don't know what to say. Losses coming to Omar Morales and Sadiq Youssef, as well as Billy Contillo. I think that it's going to be more competitive than people think. I am taking Onama in this spot, though. I think that, hopefully we see improved version a little more from a cardio standpoint, because that was the one thing missing. But I'm curious with the weight cut, and again, does having more time to prepare help or hurt in this instance where I feel like Onama was fighting on a lot of instinct? Maybe I'm overthinking this, but I am still going to take Onama in this spot. But I think Mowgli, those kicks can be pretty brutal.
Yeah, I'm kind of on a less thinking train with this fight, to be honest. I just think Onama's going to run through him.
Okay.
As someone, obviously, who's, me and Cage Warriors are like this for 16 years.
Yeah,
so
of course. Yeah. No, I get
Mason Jones is the fucking man. He
is, but in the UFC, he finds ways to get in his own way in each of his fights so far.
I know how good Mason Jones is, and Mason Jones, I mean, the comments are right. He pulled away in that third round, but Onama showed he belongs. He's not at the correct weight. It's I don't know. Onama has all the skills. He's got the size. I don't rate Benitez that much.
Okay.
Because if you look at the fights he was meant to have, I haven't got them up, but I'm pretty sure he was meant to fight like Jonathan Pierce and TJ Brown at one point. So you could see where they were kind of heading towards him, where they were kind of trying to push this guy.
Wait, is this? Are you? Can someone confirm this? Heard Parker Porter dropped, but got Huntsucker. Are you fucking with me, Regis Philbins? Because can someone please confirm that? Because I will break that down on the spot if that's the case. Huntsucker versus Bordeaux, I'll break that down right away. I don't need to research that shit. That's awful. No way. Please tell me you're just trolling, Regis. I'm going to assume that's a troll. But yeah, you got Onama. Do you got the finish here?
I got the finish here as well. Yeah, I think like round 2. I think he's just going to be too strong, too powerful, too quick. He's going to want to show people as well that there's a reason I got that short notice fight. It might hurt him in the long run getting that short notice fight losing, but yeah.
Wait, what is going on now? Porter. Now you're saying Porter got guys. Come on, Porter. I heard just got moved to a co-main. What's happening? Someone sent Bunny research. I trust you. I don't trust anybody else here. But I feel like I'm being trolled here. What the hell? Onama minus 155. I like that price quite a bit, meaning you're getting plus money on a finish. I don't mind that either. It could be really a battle of leg kicks here because Onama has great leg kicks as well. But thank you, Bunny. Just let me know if there's a main event pullout or anything like that, or co-main, whatever's happening, because I'm confused. And if Hunsucker's in the co-main event, I'm gonna cry, real hard. Last fight on the prelims, according to Tapology right now, is Regis Philbin, LJK. Not funny. Regis, but kind of funny. Regis was trolling. Hunsucker is not in the fight with Bordeaux. Can you imagine a Hunsucker Bordeaux fight as a co-main event in the UFC? Can you imagine that? I can't imagine that as a co-main event.
I've never made food during the co-main event.
Yeah, like the steak fight and I would be so hungry. I'd have to wait so long. All right, that was a good troll. Once I saw it was from a guy named Regis Philbin, I had a little bit of suspicions, I'll be honest. I was like that. So is there any schedule changes or anything? Yeah, you really did disappoint, Regis. That was good. Well done. It's not hard to make me look stupid, but good job. You did well. And so next fight here, final fight on the prelims at 145, JSP himself, Jonathan Pierce, taking on Christian Rodriguez, newcomer from Rufus Sport. Rufus Sport, another one of those gyms of yesterday. It's kind of having a little bit of resurgence, but has had better days, but still has a champion in Sergio Pettis there, as well as many other, really solid fighters. I believe that Christian Rodriguez is coached by Gerald Meerschaert, which I think Gerald Meerschaert's going to be a great coach whenever he does transition over. He's a great fighter, but I just see him really, being and then NJ81 Porter is what is that? What emoji is that? A lock. Oh God. Oh boy. We'll get to that. Don't worry. But be careful saying Porter's a lock. Just don't say it. Yeah. And then that was pretty funny though. I will give Regis that. I'm kind of proud that I kind of sort of thought it was a troll. But Christian Rodriguez, 24 years old, 7-0, 9 straight wins going back to his amateur career. Problem right off the bat, 5'7", 71.5-inch reach. That's a bantamweight for him, and he's fighting at 145. He's kind of had one of those careers where he's gone up and down all over the place. Fought on the Contender Series, went to a decision with Junior Cortez, who was Tracy Cortez's brother, taking the fight on short notice. And, kind of gave him a lot more of a run than he should have. Afterwards, Dana was like, go get a developmental fight. He's like, okay. So what does he do? He decides, I'm going to fight Ryan McIntosh. Ryan McIntosh is 19-36. What? And he got signed. Yeah. I couldn't, by the way, I tried to find this McIntosh tape anywhere. It doesn't exist. I even found a tweet from someone saying they didn't tape the fight. That's how high level of a fight we're talking about here. And now he fought an NAFC Super Brawl. I don't know if you've heard of NAFC Super Brawl. I have not. It happened in January of this year. So basically he was like, I'm just going to take a fight. And then other than that, most impressive win, definitely LFA. He got the win over John Pham there with the rear naked choke. Has some wins in LFA, CFFC, Contender Series. So he's definitely fought around. Bellator was his debut. But, kind of up and down in weight. Jonathan Pierce is going to be, I think, massive compared to Christian Rodriguez in this spot. I think the weigh-ins, this is going to shift dramatically. Once you see them at weigh-ins, I think they're going to look like a kind of different. Regis, I didn't mean like a troll. It was exactly. Exactly. That's the point, is that what you said is believable with how the UFC is doing things at this point. So that's more of a mark on the UFC. It wasn't meant as it wasn't meant as a diss at all. But JSP, I think that he's just going to be massive in this spot. We've got a lightweight coming down to featherweight at 6 foot tall. They do have the same reach, but again, you can't always tell a lot from that reach number. Out of fight ready. He's come back from that terrible performance against Joe Lozon. And I get it, losing to Joe Lozon his last fight, but I was at that fight. It was in Boston, and there was no bigger pop the entire night than Joe Lozon. There were more people there to see Joe Lozon than anybody else on the entire card. And he came out and won in 90 seconds in Jonathan Pierce's UFC debut. I think we learned more about JSP by how he came back after that humiliation. He's come back and looked really, really much better. Wins over Kai Kamaka, finished him in the second round, then finished Omar Morales in the second round. And Omar Morales just should have never came down to 145 when he was 35 years old. But either way, I mean, Morales kind of was lighting up Pierce a little bit, and Pierce kind of looked ugly. And that's just kind of how Pierce does it. He looks a little ugly, and then he just outlasts you, out-toughs you, and then puts you away. He's really, really well-rounded. And, I just think that Pierce, I just think that Pierce really has this one. And NJ81 saying Pierce's record seems like he doesn't have a chin, and Martinez dominated Cortez's brother. Cortez's brother, I wouldn't say he dominated him, but he should have. Cortez's brother took it on short notice, and he didn't dominate him enough for Dana to give him a contract. And then for him to take a fight with a 18 and 36 guy, it's such a step up in competition here. GSP's so much bigger than him. I really do think he's much bigger. I think he's more well-rounded. I think GSP takes this one all day and choice on Sundays. I like GSP, and give me a finish.
Give me a finish.
Yep.
Yeah. I completely agree. I disagree. Christian Rodriguez is good.
Yeah.
He's, you can look good against people that don't know what they're doing.
Right.
The thing is, I was thinking when I heard about Christian Rodriguez in his last fight, which again, same as you, could not find.
It's impossible. There's no tape. There's a tweet that says there's no tape on it.
Yeah. I thought, okay, maybe he's got like the old Justin Gaethje record, where people said Gaethje's not that good. It's all padded. Turns out he's really bloody good. I thought, okay, maybe he's 7-0. He's fought a load of like cans, but he's still really good. And that's why he's got given this shot. I don't understand why he has been given this shot, really. Jonathan Pierce, to me, is a much better mixed martial artist. He did finish Kai Kamaka, who I don't rate that highly.
No, Kai Kamaka is such a...
But he got the finish on him, which is important.
Right.
He's still
finishing Morales. He's the only one to finish Morales.
That's a big deal for me. Morales is a legit win. Yes, the weight difference was substantial, but I think the weight difference in this fight is even more substantial than Morales coming down. I think Pierce is just going to overwhelm him. I think.
I just got to grab my charger real quick, so keep going. I'm listening.
Yeah, no problem. I think the grappling is a big thing for this one. I think Christian Rodriguez might be out of his depth a little bit here. Jonathan Pierce has a lot more tools he can use. He's got, I think, better striking. Pierce's record seems like he didn't have a... Martinez won every round convincingly. He did win every round convincingly. I agree with you on there. I think it's not so much dominated, though. You can win every round convincingly and not dominate. Dominate, to me, would just be like you're 10-8 in them as well. I agree with Aaron on that one. But, I think Jonathan Pierce has a lot more tools he can win this fight with, and has got the experience against much, much better opponents. I think Christian Rodriguez would struggle against a lot of the opponents Jonathan Pierce has faced. I think he'd have a couple of losses on that record facing those guys as well. So I've got Jonathan Pierce.
Sorry, 1 second. Just getting the charge. There we go.
I got Jonathan Pierce as well.
We're good. Sorry about that.
Late finish for me. I'm going to go late finish.
All right, and we're going to move on from this fight because NJ81 is getting pretty upset. I get it. Christian Rodriguez, even if you feel he was very convincing in that win over Tracy Cortez's brother, which is how I'm going to refer to him, it is not – I don't think – even if that's a convincing win, I'm still going to stick with my pick here. I like Jonathan JSP in this spot. The odds, however, are crazy. Minus 350 for Jonathan JSP. Get to watch this fight, and I'm not going to bet it. And Cortez's brother is a tough Mexican. You're right, NJ81. So you can go ahead and take your shot on Christian Rodriguez.
Everyone's
this weekend.
tough in this sport.
Yeah, you can, especially if they're Mexican. But I'm going to take Jonathan Pierce. Maybe I'll take an individual shot and inside the distance when I see the price on that. But I just think that Jonathan Pierce is much more experienced, and just, again, you're going to see the weigh-ins, and I think that the size is going to make a huge, huge difference. Yeah, Martinez may be a good fighter, though, but again, I think should have been on the Contender Series again to prove. You're bragging saying Martinez is not. You're bugging saying Martinez is not good. We're just saying he's not you, dude. Everybody in here is good. Everybody in here can beat my ass, including Stephanie Eggers, including Jessica Rose Clark. Every single fighter I will ever talk about is way better than I'll ever be. You're right. We're talking about with relative to the UFC. That's all we're talking about. And compared to the UFC featherweights, I don't think Christian Martinez is good. I think it's a sign of his confidence to take a fight with a 19-36 fighter and then sneak his way back into the UFC. There's no reason to rush. He's 24 years old. And now he's facing a guy, and I think Jonathan JSP was much, much better. That's all.
Don't disagree with me.
You can disagree with me all you want. Just don't try to paint me as saying, I'm not saying anybody's trash. And if I do, I'm saying compared to other people within their league.
He has not been tested at any high level compared to Jonathan Pierce whatsoever.
And again, Jonathan JSP is not Tracy Cortez's brother. He's much better.
I also hope we're wrong, because then there'll be a little hype train going on with Christian.
Oh man, if we're wrong, I'm good. NJ81's going to come back for every single breakdown to remind us of that. Yeah, don't worry there. But
yeah, sleeping on Omar Morales now.
Yeah, okay. Now we're going to bury Omar Morales, NJ81. What are you? Are you Mr. Rufus Sport? Are you Duke? Is this Duke? Duke Rufus, show yourself. But yeah, Martinez created the ninja choke. I forgot. Martinez is Martinez is the greatest fighter of all time. We're going to look back at this, and this is going to be worse than my Carlson Harris pick against Shavkat Rakhmonov, which I did do that. That was me. So pretty proud of that one. That will be. I hope that's my worst pick of the year. Because if it's not, then I
can't imagine it.
What could be worse?
I did tell you, you're crazy.
It's like if I picked Mearshart over Kazmat when it happened. I
did that though.
I think I did too, actually. I really do think, I'm pretty sure I picked Mearshart because he was like a plus 400. I was like, you guys don't understand this jiu-jitsu. No. He's not bad, though. He's not. Yeah, exactly. There's only one guitar hero, Justin James. But moving on, we're on the main card here. Spent way too much time on JSP and there, but sometimes we get off the tracks, mostly because of me. Next fight is at 185. Another fight of the night candidate for sure. This fight is not touching the ground unless someone is knocked unconscious, in my opinion. Joaquin Buckley versus Abdul Razak Al Hassan, and it is at 185. I think that both these guys are just too jacked to be at 170. I don't know how else to put it. Abdul Razak Al Hassan is now 36 years old. Definitely a little bit of a concern. 5'10", 73-inch reach against a 5'10", 76-inch reach of Murcielago Finney hit squad. He's been all over the place. Joaquin Buckley is a traveling man. Still only 27 years old, though. A lot of really good experience for such still a pretty young fighter. 13-4. Judo Thunder, Abdul Razak Al Hassan. I'll break down first. First of all, not much judo from Judo Thunder. So maybe it's an ironic nickname. Fighting off Fortis MMA. I talked about Saif Sahoud a couple of weeks ago, and how sometimes when fighters are behind, he doesn't exactly have the most tactical advice. His advice is kind of like, how much do you want it? How much do you want it? And a guy like Al Hassan, when you ask how much Al Hassan wants it, you've already got your answer usually. Because after about 60 seconds here, Moy's audio saying, Hassan, inside 60 seconds, you better hope. Because after that 60 seconds, we don't really know what to expect out of Al Hassan. He really seems to be a one-round fighter, especially when he was at 170. 185, we don't know. He finished Di Chirico in 17 seconds. Okay, he kicks hard. We know that. What happens when those first like 5 or 6 kicks miss, or when a boxer starts to crowd him? Because, I mean, he's a heavy kicker, Hassan. He really depends on, having that distance to set up even his punches if he does, but the kicks too. And I just see Buckley really crowding with his kind of striking style here. So unless he does get caught within the first 60 seconds, then, I think that this becomes Buckley's fight more by the minute. Like, I really do. And I think Buckley moving up to 185 is a good move for him too. I think he was, really sacrificing a lot getting down to 185 or 170, I should say. The thing with Buckley is I just need the volume to be there, and that's my worry. The Antonio Arroyo fight, he looked better in, definitely, but again, he got head kicked by Di Chirico, so he's facing a guy who got head kicked. He's facing Di Chirico. It's just one of these things. The Kevin Holland fight was a good showing on short notice and before he got finished. And, for me, I slightly favor Buckley's striking style and cardio in this spot. And I know I said this fight won't touch the ground, but if it does, Buckley is the one who's going to take it there. The age is with Buckley 29 versus 36 of Al Hassan. And I'm going to edge towards Buckley here. I like him to win, possibly getting the finish, honestly. I think it could look a lot like the Chaos Williams fight, because I do kind of question where that chin goes as the gas starts to dissipate. So I'm going to edge towards Buckley here. I'm going to say Buckley gets the KO.
Wow. I'm going to go. Well, first off, I will say I like Buckley as well. Al Hassan, he's so explosive and ridiculously hard to predict, and that's got to be in Buckley's corner here. That will be the game plan going on, which will be avoid the big shots for the first few minutes, and you can take control. Pretty much everyone that comes against Abdul, their game plan should be let's take it easy, don't start slow, start on your heels, keep the distance, keep range, which Buckley does pretty good, to be honest. He's still going, is he?
Cortez's brother has never been knocked out. You're right. Goat.
Goat. But I think if Buckley can keep the distance well for the first few minutes, feel him out, feel the time, and he might sacrifice the first round, but I have no doubt he can win the second and third. I think it's going to be a decision fight. I think Buckley's just going to use a little more volume. Wow. I don't think he's really.
I just don't see this fight lasting 15 minutes with these guys,
and that's why I'm doing it. Because they always bloody do. They always do. Whenever you're like, oh, this has to end in a knock, it never does. It always goes 15. Did you see Justin Gaethje versus Michael Chandler going 15 minutes?
That fight shouldn't have gone 15 minutes. Chandler was pointing at ghosts in the crowd in the third round. Remember, it was just like pointing. The ref should have been like, you are not sane right now. You don't know where you are. You don't know what year it is. They should have been like, stop. He's like, he was pointing at ghosts in there. It was just. And that, what up, Manny? Good to see you here.
It's going to be a sluggy, isn't it? It's going to be a slugfest.
We did it. NJ81 finally approves of something.
Like that. Nice.
I don't know what he likes, but he likes something.
Acknowledgement. That's what he got. But,
sorry, I'll be quiet. I saw it. You saw it. We all saw it, Bunny. No, I'm not taking it back. It's what happened. It's what happened. And whatever. I'm sure Chandler has some guidance counselor quote that will help us all get through it. Minus 150 on Joaquin Buckley. I love that price on it.
That's not bad.
I think that's fantastic. I don't have to make a decision now, and I don't have to sweat it out too much. I'll just take it straight up, and move on, do my business from there. And Al Hassan, I think that Father Time is tapping on that shoulder. He had a couple of things that kept him out of some of the bigger prime years of his career. But I'm going to take the guy who got knocked out by a head kick against Di Chirico, and not the guy who knocked out Di Chirico with a head kick in Joaquin Buckley. So MMA math doesn't work, and here's a chance to really prove it. Joaquin, next fight up is, this is another, I think, potential fight of the night. This is, the more I'm breaking down this card, the more I'm realizing it is it truly is a sleeper card. Jim Miller taking on Iron Nicholas Mota here. This is
Jim Miller.
If you don't like Jim Miller, then you just don't like the UFC. He's been around the UFC.
You don't like combat sports, man, at all.
Right.
You don't like Jim Miller.
Yeah, he's been around for 15 years, like longer than most of the entire roster. 38 and a half years old, and still seems to have a little bit left in him. 5'8", 71-inch reach, taking out 5'9", 70-inch reach of Nicholas Malta. Both guys not big at all for the division. So pretty similar in that sense. This is where it gets, like I got to separate the heart and the mind a little bit and really just look into this fight. But I think I am. Nicholas Mota, I've been able to go back and watch most of his tape. Most of it's available on Fight Pass. Honestly, like there was 9 fights on there. Was able to watch him, and he is predictable. He is very predictable. He's going to come in there, move forward, and throw those hooks over and over again, and then mix in this jab and mix in a straight right over and over again. He throws hard. He gets finishes. He's training at Novo Union. He was training out in New Jersey for quite a while. Now he's back in Novo Union, training with a ton of really good guys down there. The Novo Union's really done a good job of reinventing themselves. He's got a KO of Joe Selecki back in 2018 that definitely has aged very well. Lost on the Ultimate Fighter to Glacio Franca in a really good fight there. And then, just ended up on the regional scene for a while. All knockouts. He's not going looking for the submission. He's definitely not going to look for the submission against Jim Miller. Jim Miller is going to have to deal with a lot of danger in this position. But he's dealt with a lot of dangerous guys before, and he's 33-16. He's not getting knocked out. He's losing a lot of decisions. So I just, I just think that, we've seen a lot from Jim Miller. At some point, Father Time obviously catches up and is undefeated. But I really think that, this is one I was back and forth on. Initially, I saw Jim Miller as an underdog, and I thought Jim Miller all day. There's a part of my brain that is saying that Mota's going to come into this one very ready for Jim Miller's game plan and kind of beat him up for 15 minutes on the feet. I know that Miller's coming off that KO of Eric Gonzalez. Eric Gonzalez looked like hot garbage, and really, really bad stuff there. And I just
couldn't take a left shot, could he? Couldn't just slip it.
And he kept taking it. And I just don't see Jim Miller becoming this left-hand Dan Henderson all of a sudden. Like the Miller bomb. So it kills me, man. I saw Jim Miller as an underdog, and I'm like, I'm going to be the smartest man in the room and take Miller. It is concerning to me that Mota's had a few fights canceled due to injury and had trouble getting back in the octagon since his Contender Series fight. But Manny says it here. His Contenders fight was really good. He's not in New Jersey anymore. He's down in Brazil again. So, which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing at all. What a tough debut though to go against the guy with the most fights in UFC history. But for Mota, I think he's going to be really prepared for this. He's training at Novo Union, which has had several fighters train for Jim Miller. Andre Pederneiras is in Mota's corner for this fight. I think that's huge. I think Mota's going to be good enough in the jiu-jitsu to avoid getting into that realm and just beats him up for 15 minutes.
Yeah, the jiu-jitsu of Jim Miller is super underrated. Since he made his debut, was it against Barron or Wyman? It might have been David Barron.
His debut, which will take me a while to scroll here.
If you tell me who it's against, I might be able to do the card.
Yeah.
But
we're still going.
Barron, but,
we're still going, and it was indeed David Barron, who was 17-2 at the time. Barron. And it was the Bisping-Levin card. I remember that card. Levin had black hair for that fight.
Yeah, man, because I remember the Mac Danzig fight was one of the goriest fights I'd seen at the time, which hits Danzig with an elbow, opens him up. And, Mac Danzig obviously used to train.
Mota's 29, by the way.
Yeah.
What
I was going to say about him, though, was Jim's never changed his style. It's a wrestling-heavy style. He's got really good jiu-jitsu. He likes to pass the guard and find the neck. He's a neck attacker, which that's the one thing that I could see in this. If it's just a straight striking fight, I've got Mota, youth. He, brain to body ratio of what the mind wants to do and whether the body will respond.
Right.
I always look at that, especially from going into gyms and seeing guys that I used to train with 10 years later, and they just don't do it.
Father Time is undefeated, like literally an undefeated record. It's phenomenal.
Yeah,
we'll break down Father Time at some point, but undefeated.
I could just see Mota kind of. What I worry about is if he does hurt Jim. Jim's got he's good at
follows him
recovering.
to the ground.
That's what and that's where he
falls
into a trap. That's where he falls into a trap.
Barred.
He gets sweet, grabs a neck. There's so many. He gets so many anacondas. He gets a das. He gets the guillotines. Jim is so good at snatching necks. And
this is a good point from NJ.
Tries everything for Mota. Just another one for Miller. See, you say that, but what's Miller proving here? He's got Lyme disease. He's still fighting. He loves for him, he's a pure competitor. So
yeah, he wins some, he loses.
I disagree.
Some.
I disagree. It means just another fight for Miller. Because otherwise he would have retired a long time ago. He knows what stage he's at. He's just fighting. The people he's fighting, like Vince Pichel, Joe Solecki, all these guys recently as well. Roosevelt Roberts, they've got 1 or 2 losses. And they're on rolls. They're getting steam. Scott Holtzman was on there. Clay Guida obviously was the vintage fight. That was the only one recently he's had that is kind of on the same level as him. Everyone else are up and comers that are looking seriously bad. So I can see Mota doing a lot of really good things in this. I am going to take Mota, and I adore Jim Miller. Yeah, it could be more pressure for Mota, but Mota, the inexperience and that's the only thing I'm worried about here. Everything else I would favor with Mota. I think his ground game is more than enough to stay away from Jim.
NJ, what's your problem? He understands what you're saying. Like, why are you getting all butthurt?
I can't see the comments.
He's like this guy. He understands what you're saying. Like, he's literally validating. He's saying why he's still making his pick. Don't get all sensitive now. Right. We know. Here's the thing, buddy. All right, here we go. Got my attention again. Here's the thing. They're in the UFC. They're fighting the third from the top on the card. This is a huge fight for both guys. There is no such thing as not a big fight. Like, it's just yeah. Okay. Well, I'm sorry. You can go tell someone else. I've given enough attention to this. He understands what you're saying. I know Lewis well enough that he can comprehend that you're saying the younger, inexperienced fighter has more pressure on him than the other one. Dude, I'm busting your balls. If I didn't like you, I wouldn't. Like, you have to realize I'm busting your balls because I like you. Like, I'm not mad. Like, I know you're good. Come on, don't this is Aaron the dog.
I don't think he understood what I said. That's what it is.
It's your damn accent.
It's
you
the
fucking
damn accent.
Brit.
Yeah.
Goddamn Brit. I need to get a Yankee back on here. Minus 180 on Nicholas Malta, plus 150 on Jim Miller. Listen, if you bet Jim Miller, you have all my respect this weekend, and I'm honestly almost rooting for you to cash that. He took it out of context, and
this is only context. It can't be out of context.
Shut up. Yeah, no one likes me more than Lewis. Also, that's just crazy. Lewis is a sweetheart. I'm a fucking asshole. But plus 180, 150 on Jim Miller. I understand the temptation. I get it. I do like what I'm seeing on Mota. The concerns, obviously, with Mota is he's had trouble getting his UFC debut. It's been a while since he's been on, and he's facing a guy with more fights than anybody in UFC history for his debut. But, so if in the pressure realm, fine. Mota has more pressure than Miller. What the hell does that mean? Who knows? Does he deal with pressure well? Does it make him perform better? Does he end up shrinking next week? Are we like, man, that pressure of that debut is too much for Mota? What were we thinking? We'll find out. NJ81, come back next week and talk about how Lewis doesn't understand anymore. All of it will be here. But I think we hear you, buddy. I really do.
Just disagree.
It's just a difference in an opinion, which is really an okay thing to have on MMA. I think it should happen. I don't want anybody agreeing with all my picks ever, to be honest with you. I'm totally okay and secure enough that it's okay if you disagree. Tracy Cortez's brother is not fighting in this fight either. But next fight,
opinions are facts. Remember that.
And opinions are facts. Correct. Next fight, heavyweight showcase, you could say, between Parker Porter and Alan Boudreaux. And then Yeah, stop by my house on Saturday. Go ahead. I won't be here, but go ahead. Parker Porter versus Alan Boudreaux here, the heavyweight showcase of heavyweight showcases. Alan Boudreaux, the Black Samurai, he's 8-2 with a no contest. Yeah, is this guy the worst guy in the UFC? He might be. 34 years old, fighting out of MMA Factory. Lost his last fight back in July. It was a super memorable ground and pound loss to Tom Aspinall in 1:30. Or actually, no, wait. The July one was he got knocked out against Nascimento, but Nascimento tested positive for the sauce, so they said no more. But Nascimento is the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt Nascimento who knocked him out. So a little bit of a question there. Moy's audio saying that Porter has nice tits. I accidentally called him Porker. I often want to call Parker Porter Porker. And then the man himself, Justin, has arrived. Yeah, we can start from the beginning. All right, let's go from the top, Justin. Here we go. And then, and so, man, the comments are out of control today. It's always good to see. But got a disqualification win over Tom Stout to earn his way into the UFC. His best win is, I don't know. I don't think he has. There is no
best win. Yeah.
There's no best win. So as a result, I am stuck in a position where whoever Alan Boudreaux is fighting, I'm picking the other guy. This week, it is Parker Porter who wins the Boudreaux sweepstakes. Give me Parker Porter. I get he did not look good against Chris Dawkins. He looked awful against Chris Dawkins, actually. Walked into, I think, every punch that Chris threw. Parker Porter has been in the ring with John Jones. So he's got 2 straight wins over the elite of the elite and Josh Parisian and Chase the Vanilla Gorilla Sherman, who just had a co-main event. Yeah.
We won't start on
Parker Porter is my pick. This fight deserves to be buried underground.
Yeah, I'm not sure why this is so.
There we go.
Up.
Finally, NJ81 getting the. There we go.
He's realizing it's an opinion show. Yeah. Why this fight is so high up, I have no idea. It's Boudreaux is. We
ask this way too often on UFC cards.
Yeah, it's especially these ones. You know, the fight nights. It is what it is. It's an early prelim fight. Parker Porter looked good against Chase Sherman, but most people do. It's
and Josh Parisian.
Yeah, it's true.
Which most people do.
When Tom Aspinall got linked with Alan Boudreaux, I was so happy because I was like, what an easy win. It's going to be so easy for Tom. So I don't really take that into the consideration. I don't know what Boudreaux does better than Porker in any. Porker, I'm saying Porker now. Porter as well. Yeah, he's got nice tits. That's what it is. He's got better chest.
Parker Porter is marketable.
He's marketable. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I mean, for a big dude as well, he moves well. He showed that in the last one. He does move well. He's got great outside leg kicks. And yeah, we're all going to say Parker Porter now. So. God, yeah. I just think he's going to overwhelm him, and I can see him finishing Alan Boudreaux pretty, late second, third round.
Yeah, I mean, it's just crazy to me because Parker Porter, when I look at the odds, it's kind of hilarious to me. Parker Porter, if you had told me he'd be a -260 against anybody in the UFC, I'd be like, "You're drunk, go home." And then you'd be like, "Wait, but Alan Boudreaux is fighting." I'll be like, "Okay. Well, then -265 isn't that bad." At -265, Parker Porter is still in some of my parlays. That is how bad Alan Boudreaux is. Parker Porter is one of my most confident picks of the night.
Yeah. Me too.
That is crazy to say. Parker fucking Porker. Let's go. Oink, oink, bitches. Next fight of the night, co-main event, 2 from the top. We don't have the Harry Hunsucker and Alan Boudreaux fight we were promised from Regis Philbins. Instead, we are stuck with, and by stuck with, I think we're, have a decent fight. This is no co-main event. But Kyle Dawkins, America's sweetheart. We have 2 guys who technically lost their last fight, who now like everybody is just like in love with. Kyle Dawkins got that no contest on like the headbutt where he ended up getting a rear naked choke like a minute later, but they decided to review it and say the headbutt is what caused the. It made no sense to me, to be honest. I felt it was an incidental headbutt, and that while it did knock down Kevin Holland, incidental contact should be allowed. And it was like reviewed, and they allowed it to go on for like another minute.
I think it's because it actually knocked him out. He flash knocked him out. He should have just been stopped there and then.
Yeah, but then either way, I mean, it is kind of a weird. I wish we could have saw it again, to be honest, because I do think Kyle would have taken it. But getting Jamie Pickett now. Jamie Pickett came into the UFC off of a really good contender series fight with Jonathan Patti, where he put together like a 72 strike combo to win that fight. But then, kind of came into the UFC, didn't look great against Jordan Wright, didn't look good against Tefon Nchukwu. The problem with Pickett was the volume. He just doesn't get going and stay going. He's really, really, again, and you're thinking of, I think you're thinking of Chris. You're thinking of Chris Dawkins, not Kyle. Chris is the fat one who looks like he ate Chiesa. But
Chris looks like he ate Kyle. Yeah. Yeah,
and then Kyle ate Michael. So like a weird Russian nesting doll situation. Bacon works too. Kill switch. We allow all, but just oink oink either way. And then Justin saying he likes Pickett for a split. I mean, maybe Pickett is coming off of 2 wins, Staropoli, and then just a couple of weeks ago against Joseph Holmes. He did lose the first round of Joseph Holmes, but ended up really, showing good recovery, winning those last 2 pretty clearly. So I could see a similar type of situation here. Kyle does kind of put a lot into that first round at times and start to slow down as the fight goes. Definitely is going to have a grappling edge. I think Kyle is a little more confident in his stand-up than he should be. I think this fight is pretty close, though. This one is, to me, one where I think that everybody's kind of crowned Kyle after that last loss that was a win against Kevin Holland. And, I mean, I'm just not quite in that spot yet. I think one of Kyle's other really good performances was that short notice performance against Mearshart. Or Allen, sorry, not Mearshart, to start out his career. He only has a win over Dustin Stolfus so far in the UFC. Off of the regional scene, guys like Steven Regman, I don't really rate that highly, but put him away. I think Pickett is, kind of in a groove right now. And I think that training for a guy like Holmes, I think it's a pretty similar game plan, pretty similar skill set that he's bringing into this fight against Dawkins. I do think Dawkins is several steps above Joseph Holmes, though, and the experience, I think, could be an issue. But I just don't like the price on Dawkins. Because of that, I'm actually edging towards a Pickett eking out a decision, possibly a split like Justin said. So I'm going to take Jamie Pickett in this spot by decision.
I didn't know many. After everyone I've checked with that are making picks for this was one I think most people are cemented on with Kyle. So Pickett to me is actually quite a surprise. I am on Kyle Dawkins's not train because I don't think he's proven at all yet. I think he's had good moments. He's shown glimpses of what his capabilities are. I think he's got a good record. He fought a lot on the regional scene when he was like 4 or 5-0. He was fighting guys with like 15 fights, 9-1s, 8-1s, 12-1s, 12-2s, all these sort of records. He's got a lot of good experience. He's got very good striking, got great movement, uses lateral movement really well as well. So I think he can cut the angles and kind of pick it off.
Pick it apart.
Yeah, he can pick it apart. So say that 3 times. Yeah, it's a good fight, but I don't think it's going to be enough. And you kind of changed my mind. It's one of the ones you rarely do it, and I try and do it to you, but I think you have changed my mind. Yeah, and I think later on, second, third, definitely is going to be more Pickett's realm. Mm-hmm. I think he's got to get a better gas tank as well, from what I've seen. So I'm going to go Pickett by decision as well.
Oh wow! Hey, look at that! I am shocked. I was definitely expecting to be on the fence alone there, the Pickett fence alone. Minus 250 on Kyle Dawkins, plus 195, nearly the magic plus 200 number that I usually use for lower level women's MMA to bet. Yeah, I think Pickett is kind of like a Billy Quantillo style fighter. He needs to get beat up in that first round, but his biggest strength is his cardio. Period. Yeah. I mean, he is an absolute specimen. If Jesse Strader isn't the most bodied up guy at the weigh-ins on Friday, it's going to be Jamie Pickett. Yeah. And it's funny because when Kyle Dawkins came in and Chris Dawkins came in, I was like positive Chris Dawkins was going to be the lesser Dawkins. And it maybe these are the best brothers. If Kyle can put together some wins, I mean, you really have two top ranked brothers. That'd be the first time in the UFC, ever? Has there ever been ranked brothers in the UFC at the same time?
Other than the Diaz brothers.
Nick Diaz was never ranked when he was, I don't think, maybe. But that might be the only one, if any. But, yeah.
I can't think of anyone else off the top of my head anyway.
Yeah, but almost plus 200 on Pickett. I think this is a closer fight than a lot of people think. And it's like Pickett wins this. All of a sudden, it's a 3-fight win streak. I mean, I get it. Staropoli was more of a welterweight, but Staropoli not a bad fighter at all. And Pickett looked pretty good in there. And then Holmes is coming in with a lot of momentum. Holmes has much less experience, much lower level of competition. Maybe the Pettis brothers. That's a good point.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I don't know. But again, Sergio, I'm not sure if he ever cracked the rankings because he kept losing to people like Ryan Benoit. So.
He definitely cracked the rankings.
Yeah. I mean, what was there, like 16 flyweights when he cracked the rankings?
Something like that. Yeah.
He's
in the top 10 for a while.
Yeah. So but if the Dawkinses could join the likes of the Diazes and the Pettises, that'd be pretty remarkable regardless. So I think it's going to be a better fight than a lot of people realize and closer. So we'll see.
Oh, Shevchenko's. There you go. The ladies.
Oh, right. Antonina,
sisters.
Yeah, but Antonina was never ranked, was she?
She was ranked 10.
Jesus Christ. Oh, my God. Okay, so I don't know MMA. Maybe I should be King Casual. Move away, Steve. I got it. But change your name back, Steve. But we're at the main event of the evening. Bring back MMA Minute. That's going to be a hashtag I'm going to put in the comments right after this. Johnny Walker taking on Jamahal Hill. This is a 5-round main event. They're not pulling a Bellator here and making it a 3-round main event. So on 8 days' notice, these guys are going from 3 rounds to 5 rounds. If I think there's an advantage in this fight for that, I think it would be with Johnny Walker, to be honest. Because for Johnny Walker, for me in this fight, the danger zone, I think, is the first couple rounds for Jamahal Hill. For Johnny Walker against Jamahal Hill, I should say. I think that Jamahal Hill is a legit striker. Really good straight shots, accurate, much better than a lot of people. Much better than a lot of people thought. Definitely when he came into the UFC, I think a lot of people thought he would be decent coming in, but he's very technical. And just really crisp with his striking. Had his banana peel slip up against Paul Craig. Obviously not obviously, but I don't think that comes into account at all in this fight. Johnny Walker isn't going to be fighting it all that way. Jamahal Hill knocked out Jimmy Crute early. He could easily come into this fight and get another quick knockout of Johnny Walker. Wouldn't shock me at all. I'd be like, okay, that makes sense. And maybe that's why Jamahal Hill kind of took this fight. He's like, I don't care 3 or 5 rounds. It's not going past the first. That could kind of be a dangerous mindset. Johnny Walker, I think we learned a lot from Johnny Walker in that Santos fight. And I get Santos has 2 blown out knees, but Santos still is a very, very legit, very good fighter. And I still think has plenty left in his tank. The thing I really liked against him that I think Johnny Walker will replicate in this fight and increase is the leg kicks. Jamahal Hill is very heavy on his front foot. He's a boxing-centric fighter. He plots forward. He doesn't use a lot of dynamic movement at points. And, the problem is we're at the apex. We're in the smaller octagon. Walker could definitely use that extra space. But I think at times Walker might look to clinch here, use the Muay Thai clinch a little bit, slow down Hill a little bit, make this methodical. I think Walker takes the Michelle Pereira 2.0 approach and starts to funnel kind of muzzle the craziness to an extent and fight a much more kind of technical, maybe, doesn't break, maybe gets close to 100 significant strikes, but keeps his opponent at range or in the clinch when he wants it there. I'm going to take Johnny Walker in this spot, and I'm going to take him by a decision. I think that he, after the first couple rounds, I think he, definitely is going to be in some trouble. I'm going to be holding my breath on every strike, but I think that Johnny Walker training at SPG again for this camp. He's, stuck at the same camp for a few fight camps now, which is encouraging. He was moving around quite a bit. I think the leg kicks are going to be a huge key in this fight, though. I think he's got to throw those not naked and be moving a lot. But yeah, I'm going to take Johnny Walker. He's a big dog here, and I'm taking the shot. So my final 2 fights of the night, I've got the dogs, large dogs at that. Jamahal Hill is a -270 favorite, and the money keeps coming in on Hill. Everybody has decided that Johnny Walker has 0 chin and can't survive.
Yeah, I never understood the 0 chin just because he lost to Corey Anderson. That's it. He just went 5 rounds with Thiago Santos in a very disciplined, technical striking bout. And you could competitive. And if he just picked up the pace a little bit, he would have won that fight by decision. Absolutely would have won it if he just picked up the pace and did a little more, just up the volume. What SBG Ireland have done for him, and John Kavanagh in particular. Now, John Kavanagh, in my opinion, is one of the most overrated coaches. Very good, but he's overrated. Yeah.
That's the key.
He's absolutely nailed it. And I believe he will be, because what Kavanagh did is take a completely crazy, explosive, reckless fighter that relied on explosivity and just luring in someone by false sense into someone that can stand and trade and really go. The cardio was no problem with him for 5 rounds. It was really good. He really changed my mind a lot about him. I was completely on the hype train. He got derailed by Corey Anderson. I think a lot of people were upset that Nikita Krylov just laid on him.
Yeah.
And then Ryan Spann actually had the opportunity to beat him, and he used an experience and kind of like just lack of nous almost, and got sparked by the hammer.
And I get it. He almost knocked out Walker twice in that fight.
Yeah,
almost.
But he didn't. And that's
right. And Corey Anderson is about to be competing for a Bellator championship and would still be one of the best light heavyweights in the UFC.
It is a tricky one for me. The only relevance I'll say to the Paul Craig one is when I did the breakdown for Paul Craig and Jamahal Hill, everyone told me, I'm a massive Paul Craig fan, by the way, as well. And everyone told me Paul Craig got no chin. He's got no stand-up. Hill's going to smash him easily.
We're on an island here, man. Everybody's got held by murder.
Yeah, well, that's fine, because I'm still not convinced Johnny Walker will win, but I'm more convinced that he'll win than... I haven't seen Hill go a full 3 rounds and look phenomenal. I haven't seen him extend the gas tank. I haven't seen what happens when he can't knock him out. Right. Also, Johnny Walker is 6'6" and has an insane reach.
Correct. It's like 8. It's bigger than John Jones.
It's like 81, 82. Yeah, it's ridiculous. But that might get nullified by the smaller octagon. And there's a couple different things I'm wondering about here. But I'm going to just say that I really believe Walker, if he remains disciplined, he can use that reach. He can use his size.
I agree.
Hill's not going to find it easier to hit that target. It depends how aggressive he comes out. He doesn't come out as aggressive as Corey Anderson. He's a lot more calculated, a lot more technical, which is why he picks those shots and they're sharp and really, really crisp. He could definitely knock out Walker within a round, 100%. I'm not saying that, but I just think that Walker's going to be smart enough to avoid the big shots and drag him into the deep waters and maybe pick up the volume in the later rounds. See if he can use the 5-round advantage to his, 5 rounds to his advantage. I think if it was a 3-round fight, I might have changed my mind and gone to Hill. But I'm going to stick with my video that I made on my channel, and I'm going to stick with Walker as well. I didn't know you were going Walker, so that's interesting. But I'm going Walker and shoot me down, because he's probably going to get sparked in 1 minute. But I think he's going to be calculated with everything.
I think if he loses, he loses spectacularly, and if he wins in a more pedestrian kind of way, and people still kind of hate on Johnny Walker. I just think that they saw this kind of unicorn at first that was promised to them in Johnny Walker, and then he tried to be that for a couple fights, and he was, and then he stopped fighting Justin Ledetts of the world, and he's like, I can't keep doing it this way. And then
the only thing I'll say to what many said as well, which is he said Johnny does that to Justin, but it won't work against someone like
Jamahal. That's not what neither one of us predicted.
I agree with that, but the only thing I will say is that when I brought up the Paul Craig fight, what that showed is Jamahal Hill has so little experience, and when
IQ.
The IQ, when something doesn't go right, I can't hit him. Why can't I hit him? Oh, he's grabbed me. I'm fucked, and that's it. You know,
that's why I think the Muay Thai clinch. That's why I think the Muay Thai clinch could be part of this fight for Johnny Walker. When the space is limited, I think he's going to clinch a lot.
Yeah, Walker can explode in a clinch. He has great elbows in a clinch. Hill, can he generate that amount of power that close range, or does he need the distance to calculate those shots? I reckon the second one. I reckon Hill needs his space. So
I can't, Bunny. I can't tell
who I don't like.
Yeah, Bunny. Do you like Johnny Walker or do you dislike him? I can't tell. And then Justin, Walker Island. Let's go, Walker Island boys.
You say Paul Craig is very experienced. So is Johnny Walker. Johnny Walker's got more fights than Paul Craig.
Johnny Walker's more experienced than Paul Craig, and so I think this is a really fascinating one. Maddie, good to see you here. Elliot's here,
and there's no wrong prediction almost. But
no, I just think that I think in the words of the great Happy Gilmore, the price is wrong, bitch, and it's minus 270 on Jamahal Hill. Plus 210 on Johnny Walker. Give me that dog bet. I am betting the dog in the main event and the co-main event. Could be a disastrous end to the night, or it could be an absolute party where I'm getting online and everybody's talking about how bad this card was because who they wanted to win didn't win. I love the discourse in the MMA community. It's always very measured. But before we go, we'll do our quick picks, and then tomorrow morning, because I'm not doing the Bellator breakdown. I was not expecting this. I was expecting this to be like an hour-long breakdown. I was not expecting a 90-minute breakdown here, but I feel like there's some really good stuff in here. So Bellator tomorrow morning, I will be breaking down the Bellator tomorrow morning, and tomorrow afternoon I will be breaking down the PFL Challenger Series with Lucky Locks MMA. Solo morning Bellator breakdown with your boy here, though. Before we go, and I'll never refer to myself as your boy again. I apologize for that. Just got lost in the sauce there. I'll never say that either. So before I say too much more, quick picks time. And as always, the timestamps are in the description. I'll put them up after this, even though I hate doing it. I know that helps people. So quick picks. I actually kind of lost track of how many fights, so I'm going to say my pick. We'll go to, and then you'll say yours. Because I think we have a decent amount of disagreements on this one. Opening up the card according to Tapology now, but wasn't our opener, so I'm just going to say our opener. It was Mario Batista and Jay Perrin was at the opener on Tapology when we started this. They've now changed it. We both actually, but I have Mario Batista, and I have him by the KO.
I got Bautista by finish as well, third round.
Yep, and we can just do finish or decision unless you have a specific, but I would think the KO for them there. Next fight is at 135, Jesse Strader versus Chad Anglinger. Maybe my heart's just too involved, so I'm nervous, but I got Chad Anglinger. I got him by decision.
Same hit.
All right, next fight is at 115, Gloria De Paula taking on Diana Belbita. Not a fight I'm betting a whole lot on, and as a matter of fact, betting nothing because I'm making my stake. Diana Belbita because she's got better experience and slightly better stand-up.
Yeah, and by decision as well for me, Diana.
Yeah, decision, of course. 145, Mark Striegel, 18-3, taking on the 18-3 Chaz Skelly. Both guys also have a disqualification, identical records. I'm going to take Chaz Skelly in this one. I think that the experience and overall skill should take him to the decision.
I'll go Chaz by finish.
Okay, nice. 135, Jessica Rose Clark, Stephanie Egger. I got Jessica Rose Clark by pressure, getting the decision.
And I got Steffi Egger by no other reason than to disagree with you.
Oh, boy. Our first disagreement of the night is that in the bantamweight division. Next fight, Gabriel Benitez, Onama. I did take Onama. I am going to take him by decision, though.
Onama by complete KO.
Complete KO. And then next up, the GOAT of all GOATs, Christian Rodriguez against JSP, Jonathan St. Pierce. Just Jonathan Pierce. I forgot what the S stands for. But I got Jonathan Pierce here, and one of my more confident picks of the night. I got him by finish.
The same here. Finish Jonathan Pierce.
Yep. And no controversy there. First card fight on the main card, Joaquin Buckley versus Abdul Razak Al Hassan. Give me Joaquin Buckley, and I got him by finish. I just can't see this going 15 minutes.
And I'm going 15 minutes with Buckley as well.
All right. Next fight up, Jim Miller versus Nicholas Malta. I've got Nicholas Malta. I've got him by a decision.
Do you know what? I'm going to switch my pick with this one.
Okay.
I'm going to go Miller via some form of neck
neck attack, arm
some
or
neck
rear.
Attack.
Arm triangle or rear.
I'm backing my man Jim Miller.
All right. I respect it. I fight picks are allowed to be changed at any point. And then Parker Porker taking on Alan Boudreaux. Parker Porker is my most confident pick of the night. Parker Porker by finish.
Yeah. I'm going to go round 2.
All right, God help us.
Parker
Porter, our most confident, or at least my most confident. Parker Porter and like Chaz Skelly. It's very frightening. It's a scary time in the world. Co-main event: Kyle Dawkins versus Jamie Pickett. Jamie Pickett by decision here. Drops the first and picks up the last 2.
Yeah, I agree, 100%.
Nice, big 220 underdog there. And then in the main event, Walker Island boys here. Walker by decision, methodical leg kicks, a little more volume and some clinch game. Takes 3 rounds to 2, maybe 4 rounds to 1. I think that Hill, gets taught a lesson here in 5 rounds against Mr. Walker. Walker by decision.
Yeah, I agree, and I'm praying that this one comes off, because if Hill just sparks him in 1 minute, I'm gonna cry.
Oh, don't call Bunny beautiful. That is the meanest thing you could say to her. But yeah, appreciate it, Justin. But yeah, that does it for the breakdown show here. If you're not subscribed to Norton MMA, I don't know why you're not listening to me each week. Subscribe to Norton MMA. He's breaking down tons of great matchups from a variety of organizations in a really in-depth way. Helps me make a lot of my decisions, or help make my decisions, I should say. And yeah, so Norton MMA. Subscribe over there. Always good stuff. He's got the recap shows going on. Anything else you need to mention to the people coming up for you?
Other than just the who wins coming up, we've got loads of good fight cards, and we just released that Edson Barboza versus Bryce Mitchell one as well.
Yep, fresh out this morning. So, yep, great breakdowns as always. Yeah, and I'll be back tomorrow morning. I'm doing a solo Bellator breakdown, probably around 9 a.m. Eastern time. So it'll be like 3 o'clock your time. Then at 3 o'clock my time, 3 o'clock Eastern time, so like 8 o'clock your time, PFL challengers with Lucky Locks picks. There's no one I would listen to on the PFL challengers more than Lucky Locks, including myself. So definitely that is a moneymaker. You're going to want to tune in for that one. And it's on Friday night. So good weekend of MMA. Thank you everybody for joining me. And Lewis here. Appreciate it. Kill Switch NJ81, Justin, Manny, Bunny, everybody else who stopped by. We were in double digits all show, and that means a lot. I appreciate it all. Keep taking care of each other out there, and good luck on your bets this weekend. See you guys tomorrow morning. Peace out.